Well, Shabbat Shalom. I just want to welcome everyone here to the Sabbath Day conference call. This is Barbara, and I'm serving as your host today, along with Brother Pete as your co-host. We just welcome all our family and friends that are here, gathered here today. And for more information about the Creator's Calendar, we invite you to go to our website, lunarsabbathday.com. You'll find all kinds of information about the calendar in the heavens and about the information about Saturday and Sunday not being in the Bible. And that is our title today. I can't find it. You can look everywhere. There is no Saturday and there is no Sunday in the Bible. And we were all taught by our teachers, pastors, and parents what Paul said about keeping the focus on the Messiah and not major and minors, such as the rules or laws of Scripture, but to better explain a profound dichotomy discussed in this study, let us first consider the example of a team sport. And the team may consist of 16 or more players. If every player believed all they had to do to win the game was say the name or focus their eyes on their team captain, a significant loss would be theirs. But rather, for each sport, there are the rules of the game that are under the authority of the team captain, which are in place for playing and winning. It is in following the rules of the game that we honor the captain and win the prize. For the very same reason, our Messiah, Yeshua, declared, "If you love me, keep my commandments." He says that in John 14:15.
I can't find a single verse in the entire Bible commanding me to worship on either Saturday or Sunday. The reason is even more compelling. The biblical calendar's months and weeks are based upon the moon's lunar cycle. The biblical calendar. Begin with the dark moon as the original new moon of our Creator. Then count 7 days to the first quarter phase. 7 more days, and you're at the full moon. And the middle of the month. Count 7 more to reach the third quarter phase, and 7 more back to the new moon.
So here are some scriptures. Psalms 104:19. He ordained the moon for appointed fixed times of assembly. The brilliant rays of the sun reveal and endue it, making known its entrance. Isaiah 60:20. Never shall the enumerating repetition of your sun and your lunar month cycles not gather assemblies. So they always will. And Psalms 89:37, it shall be established forever like the moon, even like the trustworthy witness in the sky.
Fraudulent time measuring rules. The rules we are all taught for time measuring are as far from the scriptural truth as a wall calendar is from the sun, moon, and stars. Both the Old Testament and New Testament declare time is ruled by the three-part harmony, the trinity of lights above, and nothing refers to the Roman wall calendar and ages of the Scripture. This is a discovery of eternal weight for those who seek truth, as for buried treasure and desire knowledge that they may walk in it.
So seek truth. And here is a quote from the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia from Holidays, page 410. Sabbath and new moon, both periodically recurring in the course of the year. The new moon is still, and the Sabbath originally was dependent upon the lunar cycle. And I'll leave all these quote references for you below so you can go look them up.
But alas, most will go their own way, following the path of least resistance. It is easy to pass something off as non-essential when we have embraced an opposite paradigm our whole life, that is, Saturday or Sunday Sabbath, of the Roman Gregorian calendar, adding that this is the same religious power we declare to be the beast of Revelation. This unscriptural paradigm is proclaimed and adopted as a chosen path of truth. As the Reformation continues forward, so does the revealing of knowledge of the truth. In the referring to the very end of time, Daniel 12 tells us that, quote, men shall turn to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. This appears to indicate that at the very end of time, knowledge will increase the most, meaning errors will be exposed and truth will be restored. There will be much more truth to be revealed and much error to unlearn.
Divine designation of the moon. Utilizing the moon as the beacon of time for sacred worship assemblies is how our Creator designed His lunar months, weeks, and days to synchronize earthlings to His seat of power. Through this unchangeable sequence of time measuring, earthlings can know how much they are loved and continually invited into assembly with their loving Creator. This lunar arrangement of time measuring is no more worshiping the moon than those who keep Saturday or Sunday are worshiping their clock or wall calendar. Although it speaks volumes as to who we choose to align our lives with. But strikingly, the sun was not ordained to call the sacred assemblies of Jehovah. Instead, it was the moon. And here again is Psalms 104:19. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knows it's going down. And again, Psalms 89:37. It shall be established forever like the moon, even like the trustworthy witness in the sky.
Christianity's Babylonian and Roman principles. All Christianized churches are under the fraudulent guidelines of the Babylonian Roman Christianity and their uniquely crafted time-measuring model that is found nowhere in Scripture. Single-handedly, Roman Emperor Julius Caesar divorced the moon from all units of time in 45 BC. Then later, the Jews in the 4th century AD were pressured to change their calendar to what is now in conformity to the Babylonian Roman system. At that time, under the direction of Hillel II, the Israelites chose to use the Babylonian calendar model for new moons and the Roman continuous weekly cycle.
And we did do a video about this. You can go look it up, why the Hebrew calendar was fixed by Hillel too. But there was an instant conflict between this new cycling week and the lunar calendar months, causing their newly altered feast days and Sabbaths to collide with that Roman Gregorian calendar. Their only resolve was to craft a meta-tree document called the Rules of Postponement. This set of rules had never been necessary when Israel had utilized the authentic and original calendar. Might this be at least one example of why in Revelation the Messiah declares, Babylon is fallen, come out of her, my people.
The solar-only Roman calendar and all its units of time are fraudulent replacement for our Creator's original calendar. This truth will set you free from the Babylonian and Roman chains of lies. To discover that neither Saturday nor Sunday is the sacred Sabbath of the Bible it is an expose of one of the greatest deceptions of all time, especially against Yahweh, the Most High, and those seeking to worship Him in truth. Add to this that our entire calendar paradigm is a lie, directly from Satan's seat of government, referred to in the Scripture as Babylon the harlot.
Okay, historical evidence. Now we're going to go through a lot of quotes in history about how the Sabbath was always on the Creator's lunar solar calendar. And I'll leave these links below for you. In the mid-1st century BC, Julius Caesar invited Sojournes, an Alexandrian astronomer, to advise him about the reform of the calendar. And Sojournes decided that the only practical step was to abandon the lunar calendar altogether. Months must be arranged on a seasonal basis and a tropical or solar year used, as in the Egyptian calendar. And the quote is from the Julian calendar, Encyclopedia Britannica.
It's not easy to draw any rigid lines separating Orthodox Jewish law and Jewish custom. There is an ancient saying that in Judaism, custom becomes law. And the history of Judaism will reveal many religious laws widely recognized and observed, which have their origin in long-accepted folk practices. When the Jews returned to Palestine after their Babylonian exile in 516 BC, they brought back with them the Babylonian astronomy and way of reckoning time. That's from What is a Jew, pages 105 to 108 and 108.
Later, Orthodox Jewish calendar, following the reign of King Josiah in c. 640-609, and especially after the Babylonian exile, a number of significant and enduring changes occurred in the Israelite calendar, showing that the Orthodox Pharisee showing that the Jews gradually adopted the Babylonian calendar of the time. The day, however, was counted from evening to evening after the Babylonian fashion. And that is from the New Catholic Encyclopedia, volume 11, page 1068.
In certain spheres of the population, the older system of time measuring continued to be in use, either exclusively or side by side with the newer system. Thus, in the temple service, the older system continued all through the time of the existence of the Second Temple. And there, the day was reckoned from morning to morning, and that from Rabbinic Essays, page 447 and 451.
The changes in the calendaric position of the weekly religious rest day have been few from prehistoric times to the present day. The Sabbath, which comes down to the Jews from prehistoric or prior to Moses times, was the 7th day of the lunar week. The lunar week and the lunar month gave the simplest form of time division to early man. Moon and month meant the same thing. The division of the month into 4 weeks of 7 days, and the weekly division begun again at the time of the next new moon. The change from the lunar week to the 7th-day week running continuously through the year, while a momentous change was unrecorded. The use of two styles of weeks seems to have existed together, and the more modern 7-day week slowly but finally supplanted its ancient competitor. The lunar week was simple and serviceable. And when the continuous 7-day week was generally accepted, then it was linked with the past, as we now date events before Christ by a scale unknown to the people and historians of those times. The lunar Sabbath was succeeded by the 7-day weekly Sabbath without confusion, and the mention of the Sabbath in Exodus 31:13 and elsewhere may be taken to refer to the lunar day. And this is all from Sunday, the world's rest day, the Sabbath, the day which divine love established, and that whole quote is there for you to look up. So with the destruction of the temple, AD 70, the Sadducees disappeared altogether, leaving the regulation of all Jewish affairs in the hands of the Pharisees. Henceforth, Jewish life was regulated by the Pharisees. The whole history of Judaism was reconstructed from the Babylonian Pharisaic point of view, and a new aspect was, and there's about 1-to-1, Babylonian, Phariseeism shaped the character of Judaism and the life and thought of the Jew for all future. From the Pharisees, the Jewish Encyclopedia, Volume 9.
Pharisaism became Talmudism, but the spirit of the ancient Pharisee survives unaltered. When the Jew studies the Talmud, he's actually repeating the arguments used by the Palestinian academies. The spirit of the Pharisees' doctrine has remained quick and vital. That from Louis Finkelstein, The Pharisees, the sociological background of their faith. You can look up the quote. Several customs which prevailed during the age between the exodus of the Israelites and the resurrection of Christ had so completely changed by the 7th century Christian century that the translators of the authorized version of the English Bible were not able to perceive some important truths taught in the Greek version of the New Testament, and the Greek New Testament unseen truth would not be clearly translated into the English Bible. The student who of necessity was limited in his studies to the English version would not be able to see more truth than was expressed in the English version. Second, since the Jews for more than 16 centuries had been observing the Saturday Sabbath, and since Christians had been for more than 18 centuries having a fixed Sunday Sabbath, it is only reasonable to expect most Sabbath writers to try and interpret all biblical Sabbath teachings on the theory of fixed septenary cycles. But the noted Rabbi Hershik believes and teaches that, quote, the old Jewish Sabbath had no connection with the fixed cycling week.
So third, the passing out of the sight of the old Bible lunar calendar and the now almost universal efforts to interpret the Bible upon the basis of solar calendars. So that's how our scriptures were interpreted by those false beliefs. So this is difficult to take in, but each person must pray for truth, a heart of wisdom to stand firmly upon the foundation of the Creator's ordained time-measuring model, and the courage to walk away from all doctrinal error and false leaders who were never ordained by the Most High. Might this issue of time-measuring methods be the testing truth of the last days by the Most High as He sets about to separate His obedient sheep from the rebellious-hearted goats? Who would have thought that in addition to Sunday, even Saturday is not the true Sabbath? So this is a test of faith and something that can change our lives and something very serious for eternity to be praying about. You can't find it. There's nothing in the scripture that says Saturday or Sunday is the Sabbath. It's not in the Bible. So, as Psalms 19:1 says, the heavens proclaim the glory of Yah, and the skies display His craftsmanship. So don't forget to go to our website, lunarsabbathday.com, to access materials directly related to this topic. And there are a lot of videos and articles there on this same subject. So thank you for listening today. And Yah willing, we'll be back next week.